way to the other cave. It looks rough, they weren't kidding.
This is different.
I'm glad I wore my jacket. Are you sure you'll be warm enough like that?
It's only 3/4 of a mile. I'll be okay.
Hold that thing in your other hand, would you, so I don't get the glare right in my eyes? What's wrong?
Nothing. I'm just looking at the way this thing is made.
He was nice, wasn't he? The young man who helped us with the lantern. Really helpful.
Oh, sure. He thought I was too stupid to figure out how to light it.
No, he was just being helpful. So, we go all the way to the end, turn around, and come all the way back, right? Gus?
That's right. There's no other exit. We have to come back the same way.
Well, I don't mind. This is fun. Hard to believe it's a beautiful hot summer day up above, and down here it's, what did they say, 40 degrees?
Something like that.
Oh, we should have brought a thermos, coffee or hot chocolate or something. I didn't think of it. What's that?
It's nothing. Come on.
There aren't any snakes down here, are there?
No. Probably not.
Are you wishing we'd chosen the other one, the more difficult cave?
No. This will be enough. The other's almost twice as long. I don't want to spend the entire afternoon down here.
And it's a lot rougher, they said. Lots of rubble to scramble over, and we didn't really wear the right shoes, did we?
They're fine. I need to put this thing down for a minute.
Here, I'll take it.
That's better.
You know, you should have left a bigger tip at that place we had dinner last night.
That's what you always say.
Well, it's true. $3. That wasn't even 10%.
Okay, I'll take it again.
The whole business of tipping is a big pain. I don't think I've ever agreed with another human being about how much to tip.
Certainly never agree with me. You can give me... Thanks.
I wonder what happens at the end.
What?
The end, when we get to the end.
The end of what?
The end of the cave. Perhaps it opens out into a kind of chamber.
Chamber?
Yeah, you know, bigger area, higher ceiling, more open.
Maybe.
Careful, don't get too enthusiastic. Oh, look, someone's coming. I wanted to say something, but I didn't know what.
What kind of thing?
Oh, you know how weird that was.
We could have said hi, I guess.
Right.
They didn't say anything either.
No, they didn't. They didn't seem very friendly.
I wish I wasn't so inhibited sometimes.
How do you mean?
Not saying anything to those people.
Like what?
Anything. I mean, you're right. It's not natural to walk past another human being in a place like this and not say anything.
I suppose not.
Animals wouldn't.
They might.
They might what?
Not make contact.
Sure they would. You know they would. There'd be a big sniffing session, some jostling, a scuffle, a fight even.
Okay, the next people we come across will do it like that. Sniff, jostle, scuffle.
Knock him to the ground. Human beings are so screwed up.
Oh, look, here's some of that red stuff they were telling us about, the big soil. It's absolutely solid. It's like iron. Think of the heat that must have been subjected to. Must have been like a furnace down here.
Hotter than hell.
Gus, I'm scared. What if the ceiling collapses or something? We'd never get out of here. We'd die in here. What if there's a landslide or something?
This place has been here like this for 1,000 years. Nothing's gonna happen.
Well, at least we go together, right?
That's it.
I'm all right. Just trying to make myself paranoid.
More people.
Oh, quick, what is it we do?
Sniff, jostle, fight.
No, not fight.
Sniff and jostle then.
Hello.
How you doing? So much for being human.
looking up to heaven.
Heaven? Heaven? You bastard! Why do you make us suffer so much? Come down and show yourself, you old bastard!
Ferguson!
Sorry, just slipped out.
See? Now you've upset him.
Come on, let's get going.
No, wait. Put your arms around me, would you?
What?
Put your arms around me, please.
What's wrong?
Everything's
Everything's okay. What is it?
Whoa! This is like too cool. Excuse me.
Young idiot. That kid must be running the cave. What is it? What's up?
Oh, nothing. It was just that when I looked up at the light, I remembered something. I'm all right. Let's keep walking.
Let's stop for a few minutes. What was it you remembered? Tell me.
When I was growing up, I went to 2 movies. One with my father, one with my mother.
Only 2?
Yes.
What were they?
Dad took me to see Charlie Chaplin. He laughed all the way through, and I couldn't understand why. I was only 7, so perhaps it was over my head, but to me it was, well, sad. No, not sad, depressing. This silly little man with big feet and a horrid little moustache, pulling faces, sucking up to the woman.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I never much liked Chaplin either.
Mom took me to see a musical, The Merry Widow. Lots of music, singing, dancing, lovely, lovely costumes. I don't remember much about the story, but there was this waltz tune. Da 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 da.
Look at this. More of that baked red stuff.
Next day in school, I was sitting at my desk and I suddenly remembered the waltz tune and started humming it to myself and thinking about my mother, about us sitting together in the dark in the cinema and her escaping into the music and the colour and the costumes and me sitting next to her, feeling sorry for her and loving her and not knowing what to do. When the class filed out between lessons, I was still humming the tune, and all I knew was that I had to go home. I had to go and see my mother because I loved her. I couldn't help it. It was the music. It was so haunting and beautiful. So when the teacher wasn't looking, I snuck off out of school without my coat or my books, out of the building, across the playground, and I started to run, and I didn't look back once. I ran all the way home, all the way, over a mile. And when I got to the end of our street, I started to cry, and I could hardly breathe, but I kept going. And when I got to our house, I ran around the back, and there was my mother in the kitchen, standing at the sink doing the washing up. And I rushed in, crying, completely out of breath, and she looked at me with this amazed look on her face, and she said, "What are you doing here?" But she wasn't angry. She wasn't angry. She was just amazed to see me. And she bent down and put her arms around me, and she hugged me, and I knew that she loved me. And you know what? It was the best feeling in the world, and it's gone. She's gone. It's all gone.
How do you remember all this stuff?
I don't know. I don't remember it. I just don't forget it. Sometimes I think I just need to cry. Get it out of my system, you know.
I know. I know.
How far do you think we've come? About halfway?
Nah, probably about a third.
Is that all? Well, let's get going again. I'm fine now. thing up? It doesn't seem so bright now.
I did. Your eyes have to adjust.
They have adjusted. Perhaps you didn't turn it up all the way.
I did.
But you haven't checked. Aren't you going to make sure you turned it all the way up?
I don't have to.
Oh, here, let me...
Later, will ya?
Ah!
Now look what you've done.
Don't shout at me! Sorry, that was stupid of me.
Yes, it was.
You'd think by now I'd have learned to believe what you say.
You do when it suits you. Come on, let's get going.
Why don't you tell me something about your mother and father? When you were a kid. Anything you like.
Okay. I'll tell you something about my father. But I warn you, it won't be as picturesque as your story.
That's all right. Go on, tell it.
When I was about 13, my father decided to tell me the facts of life. That's the phrase he used, the facts of life. Now it's time to learn the facts of life, he said. And I thought, what's he going to tell me? I already knew the basic stuff. But I thought I should let him do his fatherly bit and, you know, enlighten me.
Yeah?
You know what he said? The man sticks his thing into the woman's thing.
Wow.
Pretty subtle, eh? Real subtle.
Quite.
That's the kind of memories I have.
Oh, Gus, I'm sorry.
You guys must really like each other.
You've already been to the end and back?
Yep, it didn't take long. It's kind of like a long tube.
It's a lava tube.
Yeah, that's it. It's kind of like a long tube.
Like a tube because it is a tube.
You can't. That's profound. I mean, it's like a tube because it is a tube. I mean, that's deep. I bet you're the guy who thought of that one-hand clapping thing. Nice talking to you. Gotta go.
Just think if he was your son and you had to tell him the facts of life.
Yeah, imagine. Like, the man's thing goes into the woman's thing, and they like fit together. Like, that's really cool, man.
Gus, he was just kidding you along.
That's what the future looks like. You can keep it.
Gus,
Yes?
do you wish sometimes that we had a child?
It's hard enough dealing with each other. We probably made lousy parents.
How come?
I would have been too strict. You would have been too soft. Poor kid that wouldn't known where it was.
Perhaps.
I think I'd like a dog someday.
That would be nice.
You know where you are with a dog.
Yes, a dog. Just think, at this very moment, someone is walking a dog somewhere. In a cool green meadow, on a glorious summer day like the one up above. There's a light breeze. The birds are singing in the hedgerows. The dog is running all over the place. And the air,
The air is like nectar,
like balm.
like ambrosia.
Like balm.
Breathing it in is like drinking it.
It's like life itself.
It purifies.
It
It
nourishes.
sustains.
It nourishes.
Not a soul around except you and the dog.
And the trees and the grass.
You're alone, but you're not alone.
The trees and the grass and the fragrant air.
It has a smell like flowers,
Like balm.
like musk.
Like balm.
Okay, let's get a dog.
We'll call him Sam.
The hell with the landlord and his stupid rule.
He never comes around anyway.
It wouldn't be fair to the dog. He'd have to be inside all the time.
You're right. Still, it's funny, isn't it?
Not to me, it isn't.
No, I don't mean funny, ha-ha. I mean funny odd. I mean it's interesting when you think that at any given instant there are people doing all kinds of things. Any instant, anything you can think of right now. Like murder.
Torture!
Adultery.
Rape!
Sleeping.
Kissing.
Cooking.
Fucking!
Weeping.
Pissing.
The other one.
The other one.
Yeah, you know, big jobs.
Big jobs.
I already said that.
I know. I was just repeating it.
But it's your turn.
My turn?
Yes?
Okay. Right now, someone is contemplating the pettiness of his wife.
And right now, someone's wife is getting upset.
Predictably.
Stop it!
I stopped.
Someone is being born right this instant. Here's the head and the shoulders. And it's a boy and the parents are ecstatic.
Right now, someone somewhere is beating a kid unconscious.
Oh, don't! Let's stop this game.
I had stopped. What if you were being told, right this very moment, that you only had a few weeks to live?
A few weeks? I'd kill myself, get it over with.
No, you wouldn't. You'd start running around doing stuff like crazy and you wouldn't stop until you were stopped.
You're right. Perhaps if someone told me I was going to die soon, I'd start living a little.
See how well I know you?
You know me, but you don't understand me. You just make me aware of how imperfect I am. We wouldn't have these stupid arguments if you paid me a compliment once in a while, if you encouraged me a little.
More people.
Oh, what shall we do?
Fight. Knock him to the ground. Obliterate the bastard.
Gus!
Hi.
Hi. She asked to say hello to everyone.
Oh, but she's lovely, aren't you, puppy?
Much further to the end?
Can't be more than 100 yards or so, but we didn't go right to the end. The ceiling comes down low, and it would have been, we didn't want to try it with the baby, you know.
The ceiling gets lower?
Yeah, it comes down to 3 feet or so. You can see through to the other side where it opens out again, but it would have been a little tight with the little one here.
Okay, honey, let's go.
How old's the baby?
8 months. She'll wake any minute wanting to be fed. Fortunately, the milk bar is right here.
Well, you'll have to come back when she's bigger.
Yeah, in about 5 years or so. Well, enjoy the rest of the cave.
Bye. See? That's how it's supposed to go. You stop, you smile, you say hi, you have a little civilized conversation, and what is it?
I think I'll turn back now.
Turn back? What do you mean? We're almost there. You can't turn back now.
On the contrary, I can, and I think I will.
Why? Because of what they said about the low ceiling?
Yes! This is bad enough. I don't think I could stand it if it became even more confined.
You heard what they said. It's only a short stretch.
But what if it became even lower further on? What if we ended up crawling to the end?
That kid who was running the cave, he couldn't have got to the end and back so fast if he had to crawl.
If I want to turn back, I can.
Sure you can. If it's what you want, go ahead.
I don't have to keep going just because you are. I have a choice.
Then choose. Do exactly what you want.
We only have one lantern.
If you run, you can catch up with that other couple. They won't have got far. You might even get a drink of milk.
Oh, don't include me in your fantasies. Okay, I think I will. You don't mind?
No
It's
problem.
just that
If it's what you want, go ahead.
you'd really rather be on your own, wouldn't you? Okay, I'll wait for you back at the entrance.
Shit! It's impossible to know how to make her happy. She expects me to make all the decisions. Then she takes for granted when I get it right and criticizes me when I get it wrong. If she just appreciates that I'm trying. When I come home from work, I'm completely drained. My boss expects creativity on demand, and I gotta deliver. So when I get home, all I want to do is relax and take a load off. But she wants to talk, and that's the last thing I want to do. And it's not okay for me to be tired when she wants to talk, but it's okay for her to be tired when we go to bed and I want a little attention. And she wonders why I get upset. Like that day I got a raise at work. I busted my butt. The boss finally notices and gives me a decent raise. So on the way home, I stop off for a couple beers, get talking to the guys. I have one too many. But when I finally get out of there, I'm still standing. And all I'm thinking about as I'm driving home is telling her, I'm gonna get more money. And boy, do we need it. I know she'll be pleased. I open the door. The house smells real good. Something's cooking. There's that flower smell that's there after she's taken a bath. So I'm thinking things are shaping up for a real nice evening. But instead, she's annoyed. You're late. Now the food's all spoiled. And I'm listening to her complain, and I'm looking at her twisted face, and all I'm thinking is, what the hell? If you just stop talking for 2 seconds, I got good news. Oh, she says she's upset because she cares about me. But it sure as hell doesn't look like that. And I start yelling. She says she smells booze on me. I gotta be more responsible. I gotta quit drinking. We can't afford it. Blah, blah, blah. And we get in a friggin' fight. I don't even tell her about the raise because all I'm wanting is to be out of there. Screw it. I mean, you go home, and it's like going home to another boss. Only she's going to be your boss for the rest of your friggin' life. She expects me to make all the decisions. Get it wrong, jumps on me. Get it right, no credit. Makes me feel like an incompetent god. Hey, look out! What happened?
I fell. I got round the first bend and I saw their light a little way ahead, so I started to run. But I couldn't see where my feet were going in the dark, and I tripped and fell. Look what I've done to my hand.
Let me have a look. It's not much, it's just a graze.
It hurts.
Okay. Got anything to clean it up with?
Perhaps I did it on purpose. Didn't you hear what I said?
Yes.
Aren't you pleased I've come back?
If it's what you want.
I don't know what I want anymore. After living with you for so long, how can I tell? All I have to think about when I have to make a decision is whether you're going to approve or not.
I can't help that.
Oh, come on, let's go. I just want to get this over with.
Hold on. Calm down.
Don't tell me to calm down. I don't want to calm down. I want to move about. I feel better when I move about. Come on. I'll be the little dog.
Stop! Please stop!
What's the matter? I was just playing around. What is it? What?
Stop it! Cut it out, Earl!
Yeah,
Don't, Margaret. Don't make me do something I'll regret.
perhaps that's what I want, for you to do something you'll regret.
Are you nuts?
Then I'll be able to leave you. And I can look after myself and make up my own mind.
You don't mean that.
Don't I?
Do you?
I told you I just don't know anymore. Oh, let's go. Let's get to the end of this thing before it drives us crazy.
It's not the cave that's driving me crazy.
So it must be me. Well, isn't that nice? So what's new?
Look, Max, you know I love you. Sometimes I I just can't stand the way you behave.
Oh, is that right? Well, join the club.
Come on. Let's just walk. I'll take that.
Thanks. Remember that time we were in Scotland? Right up in the north at Cape Wrath? On the cliff above the sea?
I remember. It was our first vacation after we got married.
The water came right up to the cliff, and it was really deep but clear, so that you could see all the way through to the sand at the bottom. It was like looking through glass. Do you remember?
Yes, it was like looking through glass. Pale green glass.
It was beautiful. I've never forgotten it. And what was that sign that made us laugh so much? Outside that big camping store in Dundee, was it?
Aberdeen.
Aberdeen, that's it. What was on that sign? It was something from Shakespeare.
Now is the discount of our winter tents.
That's it. The Scots can be very witty, can't they? Gus, what are we going to do?
Do.
The cave where it gets lower. What shall we do?
Are you still thinking about that?
Still? It can't be 10 minutes since it was first mentioned.
We'll take a look when we get to it.
And if I really don't want to go through?
No, you don't have to. But you have to wait for me on this side, and I'm taking the lantern with me. Okay?
Okay. All right. Imagination, or is it a bit warmer now?
No, it is warmer.
That's odd, isn't it? Oh, God.
What is it?
There it is.
The low ceiling.
Oh, Gus, it's even lower than they said. Oh, Gus, it's only up to here. Gus, I don't want you to go in
Let me
there.
have a look. Hand me the lantern, will you? What's wrong? I just want to throw some light on and get an idea. Thank you. I think I can see through the end, and it just kind of ends by the look of it. Shouldn't take long. You wait here while I... Now what are you doing?
If you go in there, I think I shall probably pass out. So to avoid falling and hurting myself, I thought I'd get in position first.
Max! You are completely nuts! You won't pass out if you just go take a look all the way through the end. See for yourself. Go on, take a look. Max, don't be stupid. You're gonna get your clothes all dirty.
I'm not a black sheep. I'm a white sheep in a black coat.
Okay, that's it. I'm going to go all the way to the end. It'll take about 5 minutes. And I'm taking the lantern, like I said. So you better get ready to be in the dark. And I suggest if anyone comes along, you start whistling. Either that or get up off the ground, or they might trip over you.
I don't know how to whistle. People have tried to show me, but I can't. They don't believe me when I say can't do it, especially the men. You just put your tongue like this and blow, they say. So I try, But it doesn't work. It never works. I can't do it!
Wow!
It seems to have nothing to do with me, whether he's content or not. If he isn't, I get the worst of it. And if he is, I get treated properly. He's so sweet sometimes, doing the washing up, buying me flowers even. He's like that when his work is going well. He said to me once, work is like a cross between an obstacle race and a circus act. And the money's so bad, he said. They're paying you for your life, he said. And you just have to choose which rotten cross you're going to heave around. He was so miserable when we lived in, where was it? And he was working at that awful place that wore him out and gave him nothing to do with his creative energy.
Mags!
He used to positively relish an argument in those days. And I don't know which was worse, the sulking and the silences, or the times when he'd get worked up and start accusing me of everything and calling me names. I'm getting so angry he wouldn't listen or even let me finish a sentence. I thought, it's just a phase, a tough period that we have to get through. All marriages have them. But God, how it hurt. So much bad stuff to get out of the way before you can see who you are and try to be yourself, if only the other person will allow it. And then there was that day in California. You drove me into work because it was raining. Do you remember? But you couldn't pick me up afterwards because you had to work late. So I walked home. It was still raining, and I suppose I could have caught a bus, but sometimes it's more than I can bear to come out of work and get straight on a bus with other people. So I walked. I got soaked to the skin, but I didn't care. And when I got home, I had a hot bath, I lit a fire, I put a pizza in the oven, and I waited for you to come home. And you came home smiling, because you'd had a good day, with a bottle of champagne under your arm. And you said you weren't hungry, so we drank the champagne and made love in front of the fire. Do you remember? And you told me you loved me. You'd loved me from the moment you saw me, from the very beginning. And we both cried. And then I remembered the pizza, and it was burnt to a crisp, and we couldn't stop laughing. That's the trouble with relationships. Everybody just wants the nice bits. Nobody wants the whole messy package. He takes light out of my life, and he brings light into my life, and I never know which to expect, and it never stops, and I'll never get used to it.
Here I am! The floor turns to sand at the end. Sand! And you're right, it does kind of open out and I could almost stand up. I yelled at you to come through. Didn't you hear me? And the walls were smooth. People had scratched their initials all over. So you know what I did?
What?
I carved F loves M. I used that tool on my pocket knife. First time I ever used that thing.
F loves M.
Ferguson loves Margaret. For loves, I drew a heart with an arrow through it. It was quicker.
So you do still love me?
Sure I do. You know I do. Come on, let's get going. You okay? You really should have come through. It was only a little scary.
Perhaps next time.